evening, welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Avneet Arora. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Friday, the 30th of January. Suicide attack leaves at least 30 Shias dead in southern Pakistan. Political crisis will affect GDP growth, predicts Bangladesh Bank. And Bollywood uncovers story of Indian scientist to Hawaizaada. And now for all the details. At least 30 people have been killed and dozen others were injured in a suicide bomb blast in southern Pakistan on Friday. The attack took place inside a Shia mosque in Shikarpur district of Sindh province just after the Friday prayers. Those dead also included 4 children. An emergency has been imposed at all city hospitals as rescue work was still on. Shia community and their religious leaders have regularly come under sectarian attacks in Sunni-majority Pakistan. Shia leaders say the targeted killings are a part of the ethnic cleansing. Though no group has claimed responsibility for Friday's explosion, Sunni militant outfits like the Pakistan Taliban and the Sipahi-e-Sahiba have carried out frequent strikes on Shias in the country. A bomb targeting the minority community had struck a volleyball match in Lower Orakzai agency of the Fatah early this month. Shirani Bandaranaike, the first woman Chief Justice of Sri Lanka, announced her retirement from office a day after she was reinstated to the post by President Maithripala Sirisena. She was impeached by former President Mahinda Rajapaksa in January 2013 for alleged corruption.
Chief Justice Shirani Bandaranaike announced her dramatic retirement on Thursday after she was reinstated to office by the new government in capital Colombo. The Maithripala Sirisena government had on Wednesday overturned an order of the previous regime, calling it a procedural error. Bandaranaike was impeached by the Sri Lankan Parliament in January 2013 for corruption charges. However, it was alleged that Sri Lanka's first woman Chief Justice was removed from office after some of her verdicts went against the then President Mahinda Rajapaksa. Bandaranaike said she is retiring as her name has been cleared of corruption charges. Many in the country's legal fraternity also welcomed her decision.
මම හිතනවා එතුමියගේ මේ අවසාන සමුදීම රටටමත් විශේෂයෙන් නීති වෘත්තීය අධිකරණ පද්ධතියේ විනිශ්චයකරුවන්ට සහ අපි සියලු දෙනාටම ආදර්ශයක් කියලා. මොකද මම හිතන්නේ මේ තීරණය අරන් තියෙන්නේ අධිකරණයේ ස්වාධීනතාවය, අධිකරණයේ ඉදිරිය සහ මිනිසුන් විසින් අධිකරණයේ වෙත තියෙන ආකල්ප වලට කිසිම පළුද්දක් නොවන විදිහට තමයි ඒ තීරණය අරන් තියෙන්නේ කියලා මම විශ්වාස කරනවා.
Rajapaksa had faced a lot of international criticism over his interference in judiciary following Bandaranaike's impeachment. The Sri Lanka Bar Association had also refused to recognize Mohan Peiris, who replaced Bandaranaike as the Chief Justice. Rajapaksa, who was ousted from power earlier this month by his former Health Minister Sirisena, has been accused of rampant corruption and nepotism. According to local media, the new government has also directed the removal of Rajapaksa's sons, Yoshita and Rohita, as the captains of the Navy and Army rugby teams.
As the countdown begins for the crucial assembly polls in India's capital New Delhi, ruling Bharatiya Janata Party senior leaders are leaving no stone unturned to lead a strategy to counter its main opponent, the Aam Aadmi Party. Here's a report. Bharatiya Janata Party chief Amit Shah has been credited for multiple election successes, and he's decided to rope in 120 party leaders to address some 250 rallies across the Indian capital. Their rallying cry to voters is clear: choose the BJP's chief ministerial candidate Kiran Bedi when they go to the polls on 7th February. Given the stakes, even Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address 4 public meetings. The party will also plaster the capital with thousands of posters to increase the visibility of its candidates. With just a week to go before the Delhi elections, the BJP is in full battle mode to win the hearts of voters and the chief ministerial seat in the capital. It has its sights trained on the Aam Aadmi Party, particularly as its game plan has been overshadowed by the popularity of its rival chief ministerial opponent, Arvind Kejriwal. The highlight of BJP's campaign is to challenge the AAP chief. Mr. Kejriwal is to receive a handful of questions every day until February 5th, the last day of electioneering.
The BJP will pose 5 questions to Mr. Kejriwal. and we expect a reply for him because we firmly believe that he has built up his campaign and has made an attempt to create falsehood in his campaign.
But the AAP, or Common Man's Party, has dismissed the questions as outdated.
They turn out to be the same old boring questions that everyone has asked 20 times, which have been responded to 100 times. When a party gets to these tactics, desperation has set in. When the finance minister of the country is marshaled out from making the budget to handling Delhi elections, some panic has set in.
The BJP has relied on Prime Minister Modi's popularity to win elections in the past. But there's been a major shift in their campaign strategy for these state elections. Observers say these are either signs of nervousness ahead of the February polls or a tactic to break into Mr. Kejriwal's vote bank. The Bangladesh Bank has expressed concern over the political turmoil in the country and said the economy would bleed further if the unrest continues. The central bank has also projected a growth of 6.8% against the government's target of 7.3%.
The Bangladesh Bank on Thursday unveiled its monetary policy for the second half of the fiscal year 2014-2015. The Apex Bank said with a growth rate of 7%, Bangladesh will be ranked second in countries with the fastest growing economies in the world by 2019. While most of the monetary targets remain unchanged, the gross domestic product output has been reduced between 6.5 to 6.8%. The bank, however, blamed the ongoing political situation in the country for a revised target from 7.3. Bangladesh, which has been maintaining one of the best growth rates in Asia throughout the past decade, has been facing regular turbulence ever since the political crisis began earlier last year. Though it recovered following the elections, the indefinite shutdown called by the Bangladesh Nationalist Party has once again posed a challenge to the economy. According to reports, Bangladesh has so far incurred losses worth $500 million ever since the shutdown began. 16 key income-generating sectors of Bangladesh, including ready-made garments, transport, communication, agriculture, tourism and shipping, have been facing the maximum heat. Many manufacturers fear that the international retailers who had resumed placing big orders with Bangladeshi firms could shift their production to other countries as the blockade has made it impossible to ship their orders.
Pakistan Police says it is on a path of modernization, and helping them on this endeavor is one of America's most noted forensic scientists. Let's take a look.
Pakistan Police has for years had a reputation of torture and abuse of its detainees as part of interrogations. But they now claim that it is a thing of past as its force is on a path of adopting modern investigation techniques. And leading the change is an FBI veteran Pakistani-American Mohammad Tahir, who played a pivotal role in jailing boxer Mike Tyson for rape, and serial killer John Wayne Gacy is now training the Pakistan Police about scientific investigations. Tahir, who has for over 3 decades worked with various police departments in the US, says he aims at equipping Pakistan Police with new techniques.
We are dependent on the physical evidence, and physical evidence is a silent witness. We scientists in the court of law, with our knowledge and training, make the silent witness speak in the court of law.
The Punjab administration has already set up a modern lab in eastern Lahore aimed at putting to use the latest in forensic science, including DNA identification. The facility, which takes up to 600 cases daily, says it has the capacity to double the number in the coming days.
Almost giving up on being able to provide safety and security to kids in school, the law enforcement agencies in Pakistan are now handing over teachers automatic weapons to battle terrorists.
Instead of a book or pencil, teachers wield guns in Pakistan. After being hit by one of the deadliest terror strikes, teachers of the Peshawar Army School in northwest Pakistan have no qualms about picking ammunition to safeguard their students. A group of teachers is undergoing basic arms training for self-defense against any looming terrorist strike. Staff of various schools and colleges believe the training should be extended to other professionals too.
अब तो बहुत ज़रूरी हो गया, अब तो ये कंपल्सरी ट्रेनिंग होनी चाहिए कि हर इंस्टीट्यूशन में, हर इदारे में डॉक्टर्स हैं, इंजीनियर्स हैं, लॉयर्स हैं, यू जर्नलिस्ट, ये सब के लिए ये ट्रेनिंग बहुत ज़रूरी है कि आप अपना तहफ़्फ़ुज़ कर सकें.
Many in Pakistan remain skeptical about arming teachers to fight terrorists. They would rather have schools tighten security, raise walls and construct barriers to defend against any future strike. Police, however, said they would extend the training to the entire school staff.
हमने 2 फेजेस में ये काम कर रहे हैं. एक तो ये कि जो लेडी स्टाफ है और लेडी जो हमारी कुछ स्टूडेंट्स हैं जो किसी भी स्कूल में प्रॉक्टर्स हों या जो लुक आफ्टर करती हैं उनको हम ट्रेनिंग करवाएं. उसके अलावा जो स्कूल्स के बाहर जो सिक्योरिटी गार्ड्स हैं उनको भी हम एक रिफ्रेशर कोर्स कराएं. ऑल्दो कि उनको सिक्योरिटी कंपनीज के जरिए उन्हें हायर किया होता है, लेकिन उनकी भी प्रैक्टिस और उनको रिफ्रेशर कोर्स कराना ज़रूरी है.
Pakistan was hit by its worst Taliban attack when 6 heavily armed men stormed into the Peshawar Army School, opening fire at the students and staff members, leaving 142 people dead.
Days after India celebrated its Republic Day, the patriotic fervour still continues to linger on the silver screen. Take a look at this weekend release which aims to ignite the national spirit in its audience.
The famous Wright brothers are credited with inventing the world's first successful airplane. But Bollywood's latest film Hawaizaada might change the way things have been. Revolving around the life of a scientist in the late 1800s, the film takes a look at its intriguing fable. Lead pair Ayushmann Khurrana and Pallavi Sharda were in capital New Delhi to talk about why the film needs to be seen by every Indian.
Not much has been written about this character Shivkar Talpade, and it's the world around him is completely fictitious. The story is fictitious, but again, the invention, it's a conspiracy theory that 1895 probably tried to invent the world's first aircraft, but there's no proof behind it. He could not patent it.
This film will take everyone on an emotional journey that I think that one wants to go on when they enter a cinema hall. You'll escape the world around you and you'll be transported to a different world. So just come and enjoy yourself.
The cast of the film also held a special screening in entertainment capital Mumbai. Filmmaker Sudhir Mishra and actor Huma Qureshi were some of those who came to cheer for the team.
एक मैजिकल रियलिज्म सा एक थोड़ी सी उड़ान है कहानी सुनाने में, तो ये सब सुना है. आयुष्मान का परफॉर्मेंस है वो बहुत अच्छा सुना, मैंने उसके बारे में बहुत तारीफ सुनी है. अंग्रेजों को डर है कि आप लोग उनसे पहले ये बना डालोगे.
Hawaizaada has Khurrana reprising the role of Shivkar Bapuji Talpade. It is based on the facts around the life of the Indian scientist who is supposedly the first man in the world to have actually created an unmanned airplane in 1895. The story is devoted to Talpade's dream and the road to his fulfillment. The film also stars Mithun Chakrabarti.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Suicide attack leaves at least 30 Shias dead in southern Pakistan. Political crisis will affect GDP growth, predicts Bangladesh Bank. And Bollywood uncovers story of Indian scientist to Hawaizaada. Now viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter at SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time next week. Have a great weekend. Good night.